His silence isn't rejection, it's protection. Not from you, but from the fluttering in his chest every time your name crosses his mind. He's spent years building walls so high that even he forgot what they were guarding against. Then you appeared, and suddenly every brick feels as thin as paper. The angels reveal the truth. He's terrified of disappointing you. Every woman before has taught him that love comes with strings attached, that affection disappears when he fails to meet expectations. So he learned to appear perfect on the outside while struggling on the inside. She sees right through me, he tells himself in the mirror. What if she finds out I'm not who I pretend to be? His past relationships were transactional. Give me what I need, and I'll give you what you want. But with you, something different stirs within him. You don't seem to need anything from him except for his true self, the very thing he spent decades burying. When you look at him, really look at him, he feels exposed. Not violated, but seen. It's both terrifying and beautiful at the same time. Part of him wants to run before you uncover all his flaws. Another part wants to stay and finally be understood. The angels whisper, his heart is a prisoner learning to trust the key. Those walls took years to construct. They won't fall overnight. But every time you show him kindness without expecting anything in return, every time you accept his imperfections without trying to change them, another stone crumbles. He's not running from you. He's running from the possibility that someone could love him completely. You cannot pour from an empty cup, and love that demands your wholeness as a sacrifice isn't love at all. The angels are clear about this. Your light must remain bright, not dim to make others comfortable with their darkness. He may be struggling, but that doesn't make you his savior. You are his mirror, his inspiration, his safe haven, but never his oxygen. The moment you start holding your breath so he can breathe, you both begin to suffocate. She thinks loving me means losing herself in me, the angels hear him say in his prayers. But I fell in love with her light, not her shadow. This is where so many women lose themselves. They confuse self-sacrifice with love, believing that becoming smaller will make his fears feel safer. But your strength, your wholeness, your refusal to shrink, that's what attracted him in the first place. Keep your routines. Keep your friendships. Keep your dreams alive and thriving. When you nurture your own garden, you have flowers to share, not weeds. When you stay rooted in your own soil, you can weather any storm without being uprooted. Your energy is healing, but healing works best when it comes from a whole place. You cannot give what you don't have. You cannot love someone else completely until you love yourself in the same way. The angels remind you, a woman who puts herself first teaches others how to choose her second. A woman who abandons herself first teaches others that she has no worth. Stay whole. Stay true to yourself. That's how real love flourishes. Your presence in his life is like sunlight hitting a dusty mirror. Suddenly, he sees everything he's been avoiding. Every insecurity, every wound, every place where he settled for less than he deserves. You didn't create these shadows, but your light makes them impossible to ignore. Why does she make me feel so exposed? He wonders, not realizing that being authentic always feels vulnerable at first. You're not trying to expose him, but your genuine nature reflects back his own masks and pretenses. The angels explain, she is his invitation to stop performing and start being. When you speak your truth without apology, he sees how much energy he wastes on lies. When you set boundaries with grace, he realizes how much he's compromised his own. When you love yourself openly, he confronts how harshly he treats his own heart. This isn't comfortable for him. Growth never is. Sometimes he'll pull away not because he doesn't want you, but because being around you requires him to level up emotionally. You challenge him without saying a word. You inspire him without trying to change him. Other people let him hide. You don't demand that he reveal himself, but somehow in your presence, hiding feels impossible. It's like you see his soul through his skin, past all the walls and defenses he's built. She loves me at my worst and believes in me at my best. The angels hear him confess in quiet moments. How do I become worthy of that? Your mirror shows him both his wounds and his wholeness. Both terrify him equally. Something is shifting inside him, and you can feel it even when he's not around. The angels whisper that his heart is finally thawing after years of winter. Small signs appear like spring flowers breaking through frozen ground. He starts asking different questions. Not what do I want, but who am I becoming? Not how can I impress her, but how can I be real with her? The shallow conversations that once satisfied him now feel empty. He craves depth, meaning, connection that feeds his soul. She changed the frequency I operate on, the angels hear him say. Now everything else sounds like static. His sleep is different now. Dreams filled with possibilities instead of fears. He wakes up thinking about growth instead of survival. The music he listens to shifts from angry to hopeful. The books he reads speak to his spirit, not just his ego. Friends notice he's changing. He talks less about his achievements and more about self-awareness. Less about what he's gaining and more about who he's becoming. They don't understand this transformation, but he doesn't need their approval. You've planted seeds in his heart without even trying, just by being yourself. Now those seeds are blossoming into awareness, compassion, and courage. He's remembering parts of himself he buried long ago under layers of expectations and obligations. The angels smile. When a soul remembers its light, the whole universe celebrates. He's not just falling in love with you. He's falling in love with the man he aspires to become. He comes close, then pulls away. Reaches for you, then retreats. This dance isn't cruel, it's human. The angels want you to understand that his back and forth isn't about you at all. It's about the struggle between his fear and his heart. Every time he approaches real intimacy, old wounds start crying out. Don't trust her, they whisper. Remember what happened the last time you opened up. So he runs, not from you, but from the prospect of being hurt again. She feels too good to be true, the angels hear him confess in his lonely moments. What if I let myself love her and she leaves like all the others? But here's what he hasn't yet realized. Even when he pulls away, part of him remains connected to you. You've touched something in him that cannot be undone. The bond between your souls doesn't break just because he's afraid to embrace it. This push and pull pattern will persist until he learns to trust himself with love. Each time he returns, he comes back a little braver, a little more willing to take the risk with his heart. Each retreat teaches him that running doesn't truly protect him, it merely postpones the healing. The angels remind you, having patience with his process is not the same as accepting poor treatment. Love him through his fear, but never compromise your worth for his comfort. He's not playing games. He's fighting for his life, the life where he gets to keep you without losing himself. That battle takes time to win. Your love doesn't heal him, it creates the safe space where he can heal himself. Just as sunlight doesn't force a flower to bloom, but provides the conditions where blooming becomes possible. The angels reveal that your energy is medicine, but of the gentlest kind. He's been wounded by love that demanded, love that controlled, love that was conditional. But you love differently. You love like oxygen, essential, life-giving, but never suffocating. You don't try to fix his broken pieces. You simply hold space for them to mend naturally. She doesn't need me to be healed to love me, the angels hear him whisper in amazement. She loves me while I'm healing. This is revolutionary for him. Every other woman wanted the finished product. You're comfortable with the work in progress. You see his potential without pressuring him to reach it on your timeline. You believe in his growth without making it a condition of your affection. Your presence in his life is like a healing balm on wounds he didn't even know were still bleeding. When you accept his flaws without trying to change them, they start changing on their own. When you love his darkness without being consumed by it, he begins to see light in those shadows. The angels whisper, love is not the bandage. Love is the antiseptic that prevents infection while the soul heals itself. You're not his therapist or his savior. You're his witness, the one person who sees all of him and chooses to stay. That kind of love doesn't just heal wounds, it transforms hearts. There is a divine timing to all of this that your human mind cannot comprehend, but your soul knows intimately. The angels whisper that every delay, every seeming setback, every moment of uncertainty is perfectly orchestrated by forces beyond your understanding. God's timing is not your timing, and that's exactly how it should be. If he had been ready for you when you first met, he wouldn't be the man you're meant to love. If you had been less patient, less trusting, and less willing to wait, you wouldn't be the woman he needs. Every prayer she's prayed, every tear she's shed, every night she's wondered, "I've been preparing him," the angels hear the divine say. Trust the process. The universe is weaving your stories together in ways that will only make sense when you look back. Every person who came before was preparing you both for this love. Every heartbreak taught you what real love is not. Every lonely night created space in your hearts for one another. This connection cannot be rushed or forced. It has its own sacred rhythm, its own perfect unfolding. What looks like hesitation from the outside is actually preparation from within. What feels like confusion is actually clarity taking shape. Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways submit to him, and he will make your path straight. Proverbs 3 verses 5 to 6. The angels remind you, surrender is not giving up, it's allowing God to work. Your love story is being written by the same hand that places the stars in the sky. He wants to love you completely, but his heart feels like a wild animal that's been caged for too long, desperate for freedom yet terrified of open spaces. The angels see him standing at the edge of vulnerability, knowing that real love requires him to take the leap, but paralyzed by the fear of falling. What if I show her everything and she decides I'm not enough? This question haunts his quiet moments. He's spent so long protecting himself that being defenseless feels like dying. But he's learning that loving you halfway is its own kind of death. The angels whisper, his fear is not about her worthiness, it's about his own. Every night, he rehearses the conversations he wants to have with you. Words that would reveal his heart, confessions that would set him free. But when morning comes, the walls rebuild themselves. The armor goes back on. The masks find their places once again. Yet something is changing. Your steady presence is teaching him that love doesn't always walk away when it sees the mess underneath. Your patience shows him that worth isn't earned through perfection. Your acceptance proves that he can be human and still be loved. She has seen my worst moments and hasn't run away, he realizes, as the angels listen. Maybe she can handle my entire truth. A breakthrough is on the horizon. Not because you're pushing him toward it, but because your love has created such safety that vulnerability starts feeling less like a risk and more like coming home at last. Be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid, do not be discouraged, for the Lord your God will be with you wherever you go. Joshua 1 verse 9. Release your grip on how this story should unfold and watch how beautifully it writes itself. The angels are clear, your job was never to make him choose you. Your role was to be so authentically yourself that his soul could recognize home when it was ready. Some love stories happen quickly, like lightning strikes. Others unfold slowly, like the changing of the seasons. Yours is the second kind, deep, transformative, built to last for lifetimes. The waiting wasn't wasted time, it was sacred preparation. She loved me before I knew how to love myself, the angels hear him say. Now I understand why it took so long. I had to become someone worthy of what she was offering. Trust that what belongs to you will find its way to you. Not because you chased it, not because you convinced it, but because it recognizes itself in you. Real love doesn't need to be chased, it needs to be welcomed. If he's meant to be yours, no force in the universe can keep him away. If he's not, no amount of trying will make him stay. This isn't cruel, it's merciful. It saves you from settling for love that has to be earned instead of love that chooses freely. The angels whisper their final message, Let go of controlling the outcome and trust the one who sees the ending before the beginning. Your heart is safe in divine hands. What is truly yours will never require you to beg for it, fight for it, or lose yourself to keep it. It will simply recognize you and come home. And we know that in all things God works for the good of those who love Him. Romans 8 verse 28 FIM. Essa foia ultima part. Love letter God wrote you in His heart, but His silence is hiding something big. Heart with arrow, you weren't meant to find Him by accident. God placed you in His path when His soul was drowning in emptiness, when His heart had forgotten how to feel sacred love. The angels whisper that you arrived exactly when His spirit needed saving, not from the world, but from Himself. He was lost in surfaces, chasing reflections instead of truth, living for applause instead of authenticity. Every relationship before you was a mirror showing Him what He thought He wanted, never what His soul was actually crying for. Then you walked into His space, and everything shifted. She is the answer to prayers He never knew how to pray, the angels say. Your presence didn't just enter His life, it entered His dreams, His quiet moments, His deepest fears about whether real love even exists. You became the evidence that it does. Not the desperate kind that demands and clings, but the kind that simply is. Pure, patient, powerful. He sees in you what He's been searching for without knowing He was searching. A woman who doesn't need Him to be perfect, who loves the broken parts He tries to hide. Someone whose light doesn't blind Him but guides Him home to Himself. This connection isn't random. It's written in the stars, planned before either of you took your first breath. You are His spiritual assignment, and He is yours. For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, to give you hope and a future. Jeremiah 29 verse 11.